Berlanga, he got a first round KO, called out Caleb Plant. Now this guy Mantequilla, I looked at his box rec coach, right? He was undefeated, had like a kind of a good KO ratio, hasn't been in the ring for 10 years, put on a lot of weight. And I see that he beat Jerome Boots Ennis's older brother, Derek Ennis, is it?
Yeah, we call him Pooh.
Pooh. Okay, okay. So Pooh's the same guy that actually for Canelo called for sparring, right? I believe.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So a lot of people not giving Edgar Berlanga any type of credit whatsoever in this fight because of that. What would you have to say about the performance? Obviously, it was a short one.
I saw the highlights of it. I mean, he did what he had to do. I remember Jonathan Gonzalez though from back in the day when he signed with Gary Shaw. He was a pretty hot prospect, and I don't know what happened in his personal life, but as you can see, he kind of retired undefeated. He was a guy that was like looked at as guy that was coming along when a lot of good junior middleweights was coming along. It was about maybe 6 or 7 of them, and he was looked at as a guy that was going to be contending for the junior middleweight championship of the world. But I guess outside of the ring stuff kind of just maybe screwed him up. But he was a good prospect back in the day. But being off for 10 years and the optics of what his weight looked like, probably wasn't a good look. They probably could have picked a better opponent, but Berlenga did what he was supposed to do and got him out of there.
Right, right. Um, Obviously, a lot of people were wondering, hey, quite of a big change coming from Canelo Alvarez fighting on the co-main event, on the Ammo Williams card. Now, now he's talking about being more of a free agent or something in that sort. Talking about being his own boss to make some of these big fights happen, and obviously Caleb Plant being one of those. What's your feeling on all this?
Um, I didn't hear him call Caleb out. I heard him
No?
say fuck Caleb Plant. I didn't hear him say I want to fight Caleb Plant. He said fuck Caleb Plant and he kept saying it.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to correct you or anything like that, but I didn't hear no call out. That's not a call out to me. A
So
call
he
out
mentioned
is
three names. He mentioned three names.
that's fine,
Mungia,
but
Mungia, Charlo, and Plant.
that's cool. I'm just telling you what I heard. I don't train Mungia and Charlo. I train Caleb. I didn't hear him say he wanted to fight Caleb. I heard him say fuck Caleb Plant. But if he do want to make the fight, then that's fine. I really don't have no control over that. Um, I did see that Berlanga was a little upset with Eddie Hearn for not making the William Skull fight, and
Right.
I understand why he was upset because I think him and Caleb. This is just me talking. Nobody else. I'm not speaking for Caleb, but I think that him and Caleb is going to have some issues making their fight because Edgar believes he's better than Caleb and he's a bigger star. He's gonna want the most money. Caleb believes he's better than Edgar and he's a bigger star and he's gonna want the most money. And that's subjective. That's an opinion. But what's not an opinion is Caleb Plant was a world champion before. He has title defenses. And when you sitting down, you making negotiations and you laying the groundwork for a fight, all of those things come up as far as who's going to be the A side or who's going to be the B side or who's going to take the lion's share, who's going to walk last,
Yeah.
whose name is going to be in the lights first. All those things are going to come up. And when you
Hmm.
got two guys that think that they should be the A side, there's always going to be some negotiation problems. And I see why Edgar was pissed off at Eddie Hearn because he wants to be a world champion. Because if he get a world title, then Caleb can't throw that up in his face and be the A side. But he didn't get the world championship. Canelo got the fight, and now if he go in negotiations with Caleb, Caleb's gonna say, "How am I gonna be the A side to a guy who who's 0-1 in title fights and never won a world championship? And plus, I made more money than him. Plus, I beat more world champions, and I'm not." making Caleb's case for him. I don't negotiate his fights. I just know that these things come up, and the general public don't always see it. And with the back and forth between Caleb and Edgar, it's such bad blood. Neither one of them is going to like give that up. They're not going to give up what they think is their advantage. And I'm not as optimistic about this fight being made right away as most people are, because I don't know Edgar, but I kind of could see his personality, and I know Caleb. Caleb not going to be the B side to Edgar. He's just not going to have it. He's not going to let Edgar make more money than him. You know what I mean? Caleb, like, he's just not gonna do that. He's not gonna just give that up and be like, all right, well, forget it. Go ahead, let him have it. Let's make the fight. I don't see him doing that for Edgar. I see him doing it for like a bigger star, like, the Canelos, the Benavidez's of the world. But I don't think he's gonna do that to Edgar. Edgar resume is not deep enough for Caleb to do that. So they could say all that stuff about wanting to fight and everything. I know you said he called Caleb out, but I think behind the scenes there's going to be some issues with them making the fight right now.
I'm glad that you mentioned that though, because it makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? Like, he's been in there. Caleb's winning 1 rounds. With Canelo Alvarez, 1 rounds with Benavidez, and was
He fought him in their
competitive.
prime too. You know what I mean? Which is the difference. Canelo, well, Edgar never fought Benavidez. I don't think that fight will ever happen. And he fought an older
Whoa,
version
whoa! Why
of him.
not? Why not? Talk to me. Slow down. Tell me why not. That's a
Because
big
I
fight,
just
supposedly.
honestly, I don't think what happened right now, because Benavidez is a little bit too much for Berlanga right now. And people in boxing, nobody says like, well, that guy is too much for my guy. You know, boxing terms, we talk in a more prideful language. You know what I'm saying? So it's not always what you say, it's what you do. The Mexico Puerto Rican rivalry is huge. Him and Benavidez is around the same age. They're in the same era. They was in the same weight division. They could have fought, but he went after Canelo because Canelo is the super big star. And on top of that, Canelo's an easier fight than Benavidez is right now. Nobody want to fight that kid, bro. He's nothing to play with. You know what I mean? And Edgar Berlanga got one of the best managers in boxing and Keith Conley. That guy really know what he's doing. So he's not gonna let Edgar fight Benavidez. And I think Edgar's a good fighter, but Benavidez, you see the smoke that he's taking? Those is tough fights that he's taking. Undefeated southpaws, tricky southpaws, movers like Caleb,
It's all back to
Olympian,
back too.
like the nail. Like, I got respect for David Benavidez. I'm not one of them people that because my guy go up against a guy, I can't respect him. David Benavidez should be on the pound for pound list, man. If he didn't have that issue with the drug test or whatever, back in the day, then man, he would be a top 5 pound for pound guy right now. You know what I'm saying? That kind of slowed him down, and he never was able to get that WBC belt back, and it kind of like messed him up. But they wouldn't fight him, man. Like, it wouldn't make sense because he would lose, and it would like ruin his brand a little bit. It's one thing to lose to Canelo by decision, and you could say, well, you wasn't experienced enough, but losing to David Benavidez by a brutal beating or a knockout, it just wouldn't be good for his brand, especially in a fight that he don't have to take. So I don't see him fighting him, not this second anyway. And on top of that, Benavidez has a stablemate in Diego Pacheco that could fight him. And when you and the guy got the same trainers and the same handlers, sometimes you let the guy that's least accomplished take the fight, so you don't take an opponent away from him. So I could see Benavidez like, I'll let my stablemate get him. They're in the same uh sort of tier as far as upcoming contenders trying to win the world title. Him and
Pacheco.
Pacheco are on the same level than what Benavidez is as far as Berlanga. And that's no shot against Berlanga. Berlanga's a talented guy, but he not gonna fight David Benavidez right now.